Yay! Happy New Year. See, I'm so joyful and happy. My wife actually got me this and say, you're wearing this because I got this for you to make the video. So wear it. I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do? So I'll wear it. But if you think about it, this is actually going to be KRSchannel is going to be expanding into 3 decades, 3 different decades. I started it in 2009 and it's about to be 2020. So it is quite significant, if you look at it, 3 different decades of KRSchannel. And I know it was my 10th year anniversary this year and I didn't celebrate it. Maybe I'll bring some cake next year or something, who knows. So today I actually wanted to talk about the double transit phenomenon in Vedic astrology, which is of Jupiter and Saturn. So Jupiter and Saturn, like right now, they're in Sagittarius together. It's a double transit phenomenon. But especially in 2020 and especially in 2021, for a whole year, Jupiter and Saturn are going to be together in the sign of Capricorn. Okay? Because in 2020, Jupiter is going to be retrograde, Saturn's going to go retrograde. So when they're retrograde, they're actually kind of like, first of all, they cannot protect the significance of their sign or the house. And also they kind of like, it's kind of like a particle extraction where most of the particles of the planets start working with the sign before when they're retrograde. So, it's kind of like a quantum physics, quantum astrology, you can say, which I'll explain. But what's the most important thing for a transit is to study Ashtak Varga. It's a mathematical score, Binashtak Varga, given by a planet to a certain house. And when it transits that house, based on if the score is high or low, it's going to give results based on that. So 0 being nullified, nothing. 8 being the maximum, the most benefic. So you want to see how Jupiter and Saturn are giving points in Capricorn. If they're both giving good points in Capricorn, that double transit becomes amazing. If one is giving and the other is just nullified, then that double transit is not going to do anything. So this is why it's important to see your score. And I actually give you attachments besides the PDF report. I've actually made custom attachments to show the new people what is Ashtak Varga and how to look at it, which page it's on. And for that, if you do not know your Ashtak Varga score, check out the links here under the shop section. And from option 5 and beyond, all the reports that you get, you will see this attachment and the Ashtak Varga score given by your planet, including the accumulated points known as Sarvashtak Varga, which are all the planets that give the points into that house. We add them up, subtract certain things, certain points, and that's the total score of the house, how strong that house is. So knowing this, let's get started with the double transit of 2020 and 2021. So as you know that by end of January, Saturn is going to be in Capricorn. Okay. And especially by end of March to end of June, Jupiter is going to be in Capricorn and is going to start retrograding back into Sagittarius. Saturn is going to be direct till March, and between March and September, Saturn is going to be retrograde. So this whole double transit thing doesn't necessarily work out so strongly. Because when a planet is retrograde in transit, besides the birth chart, when it's retrograde in transit, it starts giving results of the sign previous to itself. So Saturn is still going to behave between March and September like it's in Sagittarius. And when Jupiter is retrograde in Sagittarius, it's going to act like it's in Scorpio. So in a way, they're both kind of like acting in a very confused, chaotic manner. Okay? And this is why I said this transit is truly for 2021, because after November 25th, Jupiter is going to be coming into the sign of Capricorn for one whole year, for good, while Saturn will be established and stationed in Capricorn as well till 2022. So the double transit works somewhat in 2020, but really it's about 2021. Okay. And What I'm going to say may not make any sense for some of you. Why? Because again, if Jupiter and Saturn are not giving at least 4 points or above to the sign of Capricorn, it's not really going to do much, whether it happens with your children, promotions, career. But if they are giving, okay, high points, you know, like let's say Jupiter gives 6 points, Saturn is giving 5 points, boy, you know you're going to see something good and significant happen in those houses from your ascendant. Okay. And Jupiter in Capricorn, again, I'm not going to use this word, oh, it's debilitated, so negative things are going to happen. Or Saturn is in its own sign of Capricorn, so blossomy things will happen. No, because Jupiter, like I do my transit reading for people, Jupiter actually is giving much better points for significant amount of people than while it's in Sagittarius. I actually saw a person get 8 points by Jupiter in Capricorn, while only 4 points in Sagittarius. So, and I'm like, your Jupiter, when it's debilitated, it is going to give the best results than it's supposed to, versus while it's in Sagittarius, which is its own sign. And this is why we must understand this beauty. I wouldn't say a complex beauty, just a simple mathematical beauty of astrology that can help us put absolute sense and soul into understanding transits. Now in Capricorn, see, Capricorn is a sign of duty, commitment, sacrifice. Okay? So remember, Saturn is a sign of duty, commitment, and sacrifice. It's also the sign of our obligation to society. What obligation are you here to inject on society? That's Capricorn. And you have to understand one thing also about Capricorn is that Capricorn is the highest of the feminine signs. So there's 3 feminine signs, right? Or 4. There's Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and Pisces. These are feminine signs, but Capricorn is known as the most feminine sign, and is the most feminine sign of the fixed sign, which is Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So why is it that a feminine sign has to do with duty, commitment, sacrifice, and obligation to society? Because that is what a feminine sign does. That is what a female energy does. A female is what? In a sense, a mother, right? Mother's got a duty 24/7, commitment 24/7, sacrifices 24/7, and obligation in society 24/7. They have the most burden, they have the most work, and with least amount of rewards. This is why the feminine energy is so strong. And this is why Capricorn, which is people think is the 10th house of career and like this masculine sign where people are very, A, type A personality. No, this is actually a feminine type A that is willing to sacrifice anything to provide for its family, to provide for its home. Why? Because directly opposite to Capricorn is the sign of Cancer, which is another feminine sign. So this is what we have to, this is how we need to kind of start looking at the, zodiac signs and planets. It is 2 feminine signs, Cancer and Capricorn. And Capricorn becomes the one that go and finds the food, and then Cancer is what feeds the food. But it is a feminine energy, both. So here you have these 2 gigantic planets coming. The 2 of the most gigantic planets in the solar system, which is Saturn and Jupiter. And the thing is, with Jupiter, Jupiter naturally brings optimism, this hopefulness in the sign that it transits. It brings this inspirational ideas like, wow, I can do this. Let's do this. I can totally, focus on this. I love this. Like Jupiter is what kind of becomes the passion. Saturn is like, and Saturn on the other hand feels like, all right, I guess I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to roll up my sleeves and I have to do this. So it doesn't matter if Saturn is exalted in its own sign of Capricorn, in its Mool Trikon sign of Aquarius, okay, or debilitated in Aries. It's always going to do the same thing. You feel like you are going to have to do this now. You just can't escape from it. Where Jupiter, like, oh my God, I so want to do this. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to start cover with ascendants with the same elements. So we're going to focus on Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius first. So with Aries ascendant, you will notice because this transit happens in the 10th house, you will definitely be able to find higher status, promotions, respect from your authorities, respect from government. Any government issue that you have been trying to resolve will be able to resolve only if the score is good. Otherwise, it won't be. And specifically, it also shows that a person will be able to find resolution in situations related to the home, real estate. One will be able to find some resolution if you're dealing with the mother, if you're dealing with things within your home. And when we look at Leo ascendant people, this is going to be happening in your 6th house. So it will give resolution and solutions related to dealing with enemies, obstacles, debts. You'll be able to thrive in competition. And specifically, your expenses will decrease. And your ability to, let's say, get a visa will become much easier. And if it's a low score, then you can keep trying. Definitely Jupiter and Saturn won't be the one giving you the visa. It could be some other planet. It could be Rahu, it could be Mars or Moon. But Jupiter and Saturn will not. And they have a strongest stay in the chart because they have the longest transit. And when it comes to Sagittarius, this is going to be happening in the 2nd house. So within the 2nd house, it shows one will be able to save more money. One will be able to get resolution in things related to insurance, inheritance, wills and estates. And even in the context of how much you make. So let's say you make 50,000 or you make 100,000 or you make 500,000. Within the context of what you're making, you'll be able to save more money. Previously, let's say you may not be able to save more money. Now you'll be able to save more money. You'll be able to speak your mind. Jupiter and Saturn will give you the strength to say the right things at the right time. It also gives naturally solution and resolution with in-laws and spouse's family, which is a hurdle for most people. Then when we look at the Artha triangle, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So for Taurus, this definitely becomes the angle where a person will be able to finally find the right mentor, right guidance, right teacher. Any issues that father may be dealing with, father will find resolution to that. Father may find fame and recognition in their own work. All your travels gives you benefits. All your travels may give you sudden gains. Travels may bring more friendships and support from other people. And let's say your work requires travel, definitely you'll be able to gain from that type of work. When it comes to the sign of Capricorn, well, this is going to be occurring in the ascendant. And here a person will start focusing on themselves, focusing on their body, focusing on their health, transformation in their health, but also most importantly, because I know our health is not as important when it comes to marriage and relationship. It actually brings you relationships and marriage, even if you're going through the right dasha. If you're not going through the right dasha, perhaps relationships definitely come into play. Or if you're in a marriage, you start to see more philosophical view of how to deal with marriage. You also, in this period, will see that you tend to get more respect from the spouse. And one thing I forgot to mention, that a lot of people with this Jupiter and Saturn transit, especially like Aries ascendant, you know, um, Sagittarius ascendant, and even Leo ascendant will deal with issues of the teeth, toothache, going to the dentist, maybe even early checkup. Especially right now, them being in Purvashada Nakshatra and Jupiter going into Purvashada, definitely you're going to see. And if you have teeth issues, definitely fix them. Fixing these issues will bring about great success in the area of life, wherever, whatever your ascendant is, and wherever this is transiting in. Okay. From Virgo, it's going to help you. First of all, conceive children. If you're trying to have children, this is the right transit. Although you can't predict children without the partner's chart and dasha, but this allows you to have children, focus on children, gain through education, gain through speculation, and also this is the time when if you want to change a job, you'll be able to find the resolution towards changing a job. Also, certain hopes, wishes, and desires get fulfilled. Not all, certain get fulfilled, again, based on the score that Jupiter and Saturn are giving. Then, for what do you call? Yeah, I covered Capricorn, so Virgo. And then if you look at the air, the Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius sign. So from Gemini, what it does, anything that you're researching on, it gives you great resolution and solution in your research and dealing with your spouse's family. Increase in joint assets occur, as well as comfort and happiness from the family happens. Money comes through the family. Any stuck money that was there, that whether it was dealing with inheritance or family, those become much easier to attain in this period. And then when we look at the Libra, for Libra, this will bring about property, real estate, vehicles, marriage, and higher status in your career, sudden restart in your career. So let's say you have been looking for a job, not able to find a job or work for past 4 months. Suddenly, with this transit, in your fourth house, you'll be able to find sudden invitations for interviews, finding more opportunities for work, suddenly being hired, and your reputation kind of improves. Your reputation does well. You suddenly are able to find a better relationship with your authorities, with your bosses. Then with Aquarius definitely shows me that one will be traveling to foreign places, foreign lands. One will decrease their expenses. One will also find solutions for their debts, whether it's to pay off the debt or file for bankruptcy. Doesn't matter, both of them erase your debts. So it's not a bad thing. It's actually can be a good thing for many people. Your ability to resolve any disputes, litigation, any issues with, your competition, competitors, enemies. You start improving your health. You start watching your diet. You start focusing on, working out with this double transit. Then we finally come to the water ascendants, which is Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And with and then for Cancer ascendant people, this becomes a very strong period for gaining in business, starting your business, having marriage proposal, marriage come into play, finding relationships in life, finding kind of like mass fame with people. Because 7th house is mass fame, 7th house is promotion. So promotions happen, going to a higher status happens. And you also focus on your own self, your own body. You focus on the right diet. But again, the score has to be good. The score has to be, in a decent position for the double transit to actually give you the results that you're looking for. Let's cover Scorpio and Pisces. So with Scorpio ascendant, Most definitely, whatever effort you put into something, you will get the result of it. Marriage of your younger sibling could happen with this transit. Any endeavor you do that requires traveling, communication, writing, publishing, it'll give you great results. If you're trying to move out, okay, so if you're trying to move out to a certain place, you'll be able to move out. You're trying to go to a foreign country, you'll be able to go to a foreign country, especially if the Mahayantra Dashas are allowing that to happen. In certain cases, not with Jupiter Saturn in this transit, but in the opposite, I've seen that children's father get married, because especially in Western culture, I'm sure it's even Indian culture as well. In Western culture, there are many times like the father and mother get divorced, so they get remarried. One is a widow, they'll suddenly find themselves remarrying someone. So in this case, father can find themselves getting married. Or for example, for Libra, mother can find themselves being married. Then with Pisces ascendant, these two planets try to fulfill your hopes, wishes, and desires. Will give you recognition, achievements, awards, support from other people, support from elder sibling. Marriage of elder sibling can happen. And obviously, again, this is a placement where a person can have children. If your partner's time is right and your time is right, this transit says, hey, it's time to conceive children. But if you don't want children, then you better protect yourself during this transit, because it definitely focuses on, because what happens with people, they can go to a doctor and the doctor can say, well, your sperm is healthy and your egg is healthy, you guys should be having children. And if you're not, then they say, well, you guys should do IVF, let's try that. And they don't realize, before wasting so much money on IVF and things of that nature, you got to understand, only when Jupiter-Saturn transit occurs, that's when the sperm is turned on. Just like Ashtakavarga, a planet is turned off and on. It's transiting, it's moving, it's healthy, okay? The planet hasn't disappeared. It's transiting. But the thing in individual chart, the sperm and the egg becomes active, meaning turned on and turned off. And science is not there yet. Maybe they're not telling us. Maybe they figured out, oh my God, astrology does work. Let's not tell that to people. But you got to understand, the sperm turns on. Say, okay, I'm turned on now. Let's have children. Egg says, I'm turned on. Find someone. But if they're not turned on, you could be ovulating and nothing will happen. And that turning on and off is the dasha and the transit. Suddenly, and it's a time cycle. It's not like the planet itself is turning something on. No, from your birth, the schedule is already made. That at this point, when this hormone releases in your body, and during this time period, these planets will be transiting automatically, so you'll be able to have children. It's all about activation of hormones. And this also shows that if you are looking to gain through speculations, investments, and even changing jobs, this would be the perfect time for you to find the right position, the right job, or finding increase in your investments. Okay. So guys, this was my analysis of the double transit of Jupiter and Saturn. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And if you don't know where your Saturn and Jupiter transits are and what score they're giving, for that, check out the links here. Check out the shop section and option 5 and beyond. Otherwise, we'll see you next year. Bye-bye.